we've come to find out over the course of yesterday that Dick Ebersol is adding Tony Dungy, who retired, as you know, and Rodney Harrison to the Football Night in America studio crew. First of all, that means that their total crew is now up to 50. I think they have 52 people in the studio covering the pregame show. It's a lot of people. I mean, I'm going to get lost through this whole thing. You need like an index just to figure out who's on the program. They got more people in there than the Yankees do doing the games. It's ridiculous. But yeah, it's definitely a sign that they're not really that high on Tiki Barber. It doesn't really speculate precisely what it is that he's doing wrong or not right. But the fact is, the more that they add, the less time Tiki Barber will spend in front of the camera. Here's an excerpt. Apparently what it is that he's not really doing what people thought that he would. I guess that's the story. And, people really expected him to be sort of a loose cannon, but he really hasn't had a lot to say. And that's the story out of the New York Daily News, as they put it. Now, that's an interesting take on it, I would think. And, I don't watch that NBC thing too much. I don't see Football Night in America a whole lot. I just can't stand the show. The show itself is just not formatted very well. There are too many people in it. It's just too much to follow. Too much. You can't have too much of a good thing. Unfortunately, it doesn't even get to that. It's too much of anything. It's not good. They just keep adding people every year. When are they going to get rid of a guy? I thought they had a lot of people in year one, but that was back when they had only 4 guys in the booth. In the studio, excuse me. John Madden retired. Tony Dungy retired. The studio crew adds like 10 people. NBC Sunday Night Football is becoming a real mess. And that's pretty much as simple as I can put it. It was already a struggle to watch those games. I couldn't get into it. There's so much production and very little content. It's like, just show me the game. Augment the game. Don't try to pigeonhole, don't try to squeeze the game into all your production values. Okay, you got great production values. I give the NBC a lot of credit. I give all the people who make football, Sunday Night Football, a big production. Huge, I understand. But, man, it just takes all the fun out of it. It's like you're just trying to, what happened in the game? You're like, well, we're going to analyze this thing 15 times on Football Night in America. First, we're going to have these 16 people over here talk about it, use their little chalkboard. And then we're going to go to this other room, and we're going to have 5 more people talk about it. Same play. Well, what did you think about it, Randy? Well, I thought it was pretty good. Jerome, what did you think? You did all right. Oh, we got to go to commercial. That's like the first 15 minutes of the show. They do one game. It's like they run out of time. No, they don't do one game necessarily. But their highlights are like 10 seconds because they got to squeeze everything in. There's so much going on in that show. They're like field reporters. They ran out of room in the studio, apparently. So they got to send like they have to send a few other guys to other game sites. They even have guys at the Bengals game, like anyone cares. It's like, let's go to the stand over at the Bengals game. Hey, Stan, what happened? Well, Bob, the Bengals sucked. Back to you. It's like, come on. Yeah. Football Night in America is the biggest train wreck on television right now. Oh, The View, nothing. The Hills, nothing. Anything on American Idol during the auditions, forget it. The biggest train wreck in my mind is Football Night in America. They have more twists and turns in that show than an episode of Lost. You're talking about a pregame show that's trying to pregame the pregame. They have 15 different crews. Some of them are out in other places. They have 4 of them in the same studio. And 30 Rockefeller Center is not that huge, honestly. They probably took the studio for Late Night with Conan O'Brien and tried to fit some people in there too. It's ridiculous. There's too many people on that thing. I can't get over that. Well, there you have it. So they're adding people to Football Night in America as if it wasn't complicated enough to watch. I mean, some of the schemes that I'll talk about it another time, but it's ridiculous. You know, I want my NFL primetime back. I want to just have two guys at the studio. Chris Berman and Tom Jackson. That's all I need. I don't need 10 people on one desk. And you can see like one slides off if the other guy budges an inch. One guy breathes and then two people fall off the table. It's too many people on that show. Stupid NBC. I mean, they force the NFL, or the NFL forces, or they both force ESPN to quit doing that show. That made me angry. Because NFL Primetime did such a good job actually compiling the highlights. This is like, saying something positive about ESPN. Take note, guys. Take note. But it was a good show. That was like the one of the most prominent things that Chris Berman was able to do pretty well. And he settled into a groove by that point in time. And, he's a little over the top still, a bit of a caricature. But in tandem with Tom Jackson, they still do a good job. And they kind of do it now with their the blitz in between segments of SportsCenter, like between Favre updates they would do it. But it's not the same, and they feel the same way. I can imagine that the two of them wish they could just do it for an hour. And then when the playoffs start, I think they actually get to do the highlights regularly like they would have done in the regular season in the past. So that's good. So I appreciate that.